Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday. It is the 8th day of November, 2021. I hope you're all healthy and COVID-free today. I hope you had a good weekend. And I hope your family is also healthy and COVID-free, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met. Blessings upon those that are working in the healthcare field 24/7 every day, 365 days a year, trying to save lives. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage for us, keep our places clean. Blessings upon those also that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on those trying to deliver, trying to save, trying to rescue, trying to help, trying to recover. Toddlers, babies, boys and girls, teenagers, adult men and women, from sex slave operations, human trafficking, prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child molestation, and pedophilia. Blessings upon those trying to help, and curses upon those that practice these things. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. 600,000 men, women, and children in the United States of America without a roof over their head today, and millions around the world in worse condition. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom, and blessings upon those who, even in a small way, are trying to help. There was a basketball game last night in Madison Square Garden. Our New York Knicks played the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, we talked about how the Cavaliers were a better team than the Milwaukee Bucks right now. They were on the upswing. They had won 3 straight before last night's game. And of course, last night they won their 4th straight at the expense of the New York Knicks. There was many problems. I was encouraged by the fact that they were sitting Kemba Walker as we expected. Okay. And so he wasn't going to be there. But what did bother me, which I shouldn't be surprised by, was that they started Derrick Rose. You say, well, what's the problem with starting Derrick Rose? Well, if you watched the game last night, you would see. See, Derrick Rose is excellent in the second unit. Taking him out the second unit hurts the second unit, and he's not used to playing the minutes in the first unit, and it showed. We had mostly, now, there's a lot of things that happened wrong. They went on a streak, and they were hitting some threes with good defense on them in some cases, and the bucket was open for them, and they were throwing it in there. Okay. But that didn't lose us the game. If you look at the game, I analyzed the game this morning again. It was bothering me, and I had to get up and look at the game again. We played horrible defense. And I want to tell you, you're going to be surprised. Maybe you won't. But I looked at the possessions of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because that's, we're guarding them, right? So I looked at their possession. The biggest defensive blunders last night happened from Derrick Rose, and even worse, Julius Randle. I have been noticing that Julius has a problem rotating. Okay. What I saw last night though, and I'm sure Tom Thibodeau is going to see it. And I know I didn't see Julius's, press conference, the whole press conference, but I did see a little glimpse where he said, I got to do better. He's daggone right. He got to do better. And we're not talking about offense. Offensive problems did not lose us the basketball game. Defense lost us the basketball game. And let me tell you why. On at least, I was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At least I stopped counting after 7. Where, okay, somebody would get beat off the dribble and Julius has to step up. He's got to step up because he's guarding a guy that's at the 3-point line. And he's got to step up. Or he's guarding a guy where he's got help coming to guard his guy. He's got to step up and he just stands there. Like in a one-man zone. Under the basket. He did it so many times it was making me sick. Okay. It making me sick. It was ridiculous. He did much better last year. When they started the season. Now, on a positive note, before I continue on my tirade, let me first say, overall, let's look at this thing overall. Okay. I just want to try to get some positivity here, because let's look at this thing overall. I want to see the last year when we played our first 10 games, right? By the time we got to the 10th game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When they got to the 10th game last year, the Knicks had lost 2 in a row and they were 5-5 last year. Okay. This year, the Knicks are 6-4. Okay. And they lose 2 in a row last week. Yeah. So as we mentioned already, we knew they were going to get a slower start. That's just how this thing goes with Tom Thibodeau. They're going to get better as the year goes on. Okay, so trust that. They're going to get better, just like last year when they started off 5-5. A lot of people tripping. And I told y'all then, they're going to get better, and they're going to get better this year. And Julius Randle's going to get better. He knows he has to. Oftentimes also on the three-pointers. Now, there was several three-pointers where once Rubio got hot, it was like people was right on him and he was throwing it up. And so was Garland, just throwing stuff up and it was going in. So you can't do anything about that. But that didn't lose us the game. What lost us the game was oftentimes Derrick Rose was in a one-man zone. At least 2 occasions. And that's not even including times where he's in a one-man zone when he should be stepping into the paint to help. The thing about Tom Thibodeau's defense, going back to the Chicago Bulls when he was the defensive coordinator for Boston, when he was in Minnesota, and now in New York last year when they were number 1 in defense, he does not want you allowing people into the paint. And Rose consistently was doing that. Allowing people into the paint. And sometimes it's not the guy that gets beat. Like, for example, if y'all remember when Evan Mobley went by Mitchell Robinson on the dunk. See, I don't blame the guy that gets beat off the dribble from the 3-point line if he's rushing out to get somebody off the 3-point line. You might say, well, and I might say, well, why are you rushing out to get Mobley off the 3-point line? I mean, he was all right. But then again, last night, Cleveland was raining threes. So Mitchell Robinson rushed out to get him off the 3-point line. He runs by Mitchell Robinson. No problem. At that point, Julius Randle was standing right under the basket. And he backed up. He didn't even step forward. And I'm not talking about backed up like once Mobley was airborne so you don't get posterized. No. Mobley was still on the ground. He was 2 or 3 steps from the basket. And Randle just backpedaled. And let him dunk. Look at that play again. All you see is Mitchell Robinson get beat off the dribble. But if you look closely, that shouldn't have even happened. The dunk should have never happened. Okay? That's a problem. And then Rose, in the similar positions, just stands and watches. I really hope they're looking at this film. I know Thibodeau. Last night, if you looked at him, they showed his face in the fourth quarter. He had fire in his eyes. He was very upset. Okay? And so I knew he was going to spend last night looking at this film. And I know his coaches were too. And I know they're seeing, if I'm seeing it, I'm just an amateur looking at this from a video. I know they see it. Okay. But Thibodeau made one pivotal error last night. Okay. I didn't want him starting Derrick Rose, but I understand. He brings in a unit and start the fourth quarter of Obi Toppin, Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks, Emmanuel Quickley, and Quentin Grimes. He starts the fourth quarter with them. At that point, the Knicks are down 14. Okay, they're down 14. With about 6 minutes left in the fourth, they cut it. That crew cut it to 6. The only time all night the Knicks got 3 straight stops was with that crew. That's the only time all night they got 3 straight stops. They hadn't gotten 3 straight stops the whole night. That crew got them to 3 straight stops. They cut it from 14 to 6. And then he subs out Alec Burks and puts in Derrick Rose. He subs out Obi Toppin, who they couldn't do nothing with during that stretch in terms of Cleveland. They couldn't stop him. And he puts in Julius Randle. Now, you might logically think if you're looking on paper, well, Julius Randle and Derrick Rose are our 2 best players. But you got to, Tom Thibodeau knows enough to play situational. He calls it talking about situational, right? That crew was hot. They cut the lead by 8 and they were on their way to do more. That was with Rubio still dropping baskets without even, blindfolded. He was hitting baskets, but they had cut out the threes for the most part. He was knocking down mid-range too, but we were still chipping away at the lead. Quickly was doing his business. Obi was doing business. You could tell that they must have checked out from the sideline the defensive deficiencies because they were rotating. They were helping. They were ganging up on Rubio. They were playing the best defense that was played that night. Okay. And Tom subs them out and puts in Randle and Rose. And then they go on at that point, they went on a run and the game ended up, 126 to 109. They went on a huge run at that point. It was over because those 2 cats weren't playing no defense last night. I mean, 0. Okay. Now The thing about Derrick Rose that's different from, say, Kemba Walker is Kemba's not giving you anything offensively. Okay, so even on a night where Rose is playing horrible defense, you know, he's gonna come to play offensively. You know he's gonna show up offensively, and last night he got 17 points, right? So you're gonna get that. But I'm telling you, you don't want to start him. You really want to start Emmanuel quickly, even if he's not a point guard. But you really want to play Grimes. You know, y'all been clamoring, you're right. Some of y'all Knicks Nation been clamoring, let's get some more Grimes and Deuce. Me too. But I'm realistic and thinking, I know Thibs is going to be hard to press to do that. But this is what I'm noticing this year. And I may be wrong, but I'm thinking we're going to see a change this week. Maybe even tonight against Philly. Thibodeau wants to win, as you know. And traditionally, he doesn't give rookies a lot of time. When he had Grimes in there, you better believe he noticed. Grimes was 2 of 3 from the three. He threw up an air ball. It did not deter him on his first shot. Next 2 was splashes. Okay. You give that cat, you know, y'all know, some of y'all know he shoot like Allen Houston, right? If y'all back in the day a little bit, you better believe he should stay in the rotation. You should start IQ, but maybe, you know, because I'm saying you put Derrick Rose in that second unit, and Rose actually plays better defense in the second unit. I don't know why, but he does. When Obi Toppin is on the floor with him, Rose and Obi work very well together. Okay. And so, that I think you're going to see. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't want to see Kemba Walker starting ever again, but he may start him tonight and play him 10, 15 minutes. But if you want to win the game, you better have that second unit in there. His mistake last night was taking out those 2 players. He should have kept Obi Toppin and Alec Burke in the game. Some of y'all, somebody, I don't want to call him a name, but somebody said, well, we should trade Alec Burke. Are you crazy? Did you see what he did last night? That's why you have an Alec Burke for the 4th quarter. That's why you have him. Because he's going to do that all through the playoffs. That's what he does. Okay. He's a clutch dude. He's not a superstar, but he's a clutch player. You need those type of guys to win close games like that. And he plays smart. Immediately, I started seeing him do what Rose wasn't doing, which was jump in the lane from the weak side to make sure they weren't going to if they got beat on the strong side, he was going to be there. Okay. You started seeing him doing that as soon as he got in the game. Because they was observing the deficiencies on defense from the sideline. That was excellent coaching. You know, you got to give coaches your credit for that. They didn't just come in and try to not know what's going on. They knew exactly what was going on. They knew what they had to do, and they cut the lead. So I'm expecting some of you were clamoring for Derrick Rose to start, and I know that everybody in the media was like, you know, it's going to be Rose and Kemba starting, blah, 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 blah. No, you don't want to start Rose. You want to keep Rose on the second unit. He's dynamic in the second unit. If you need to close with him, it's because Rose is on a rhythm. And he does that. Y'all know he can get in the flow, get in the rhythm, and then you close with him. But when you have that crew that came in and don't take them out. I was yelling at the TV, don't sub nobody out of this crew for the whole 4th quarter. When at 6 minutes left, he subbed those guys in. I knew we was in trouble, and we was. Okay. So I'm saying you start IQ. You put Rose on the bench with the second unit, and you move Grimes into the rotation, and you just, ease Kemba out. That's what you gotta do. Okay. And I think that, the Knicks will be really good to go. The defensive deficiencies, they have got Randle. Okay. We're not going to bench Randle. Okay. He's not going to do that, obviously. And he shouldn't. But Julius Randle has got to look at this film, and he's got to play better defense. I don't care if he only scores 6 points. But if he was on his game defensively last night, we might have won that basketball game. He missed so many defensive assignments. It was sickening. He was playing Julius Randle 2 years ago. That's what kind of defense he was playing. It was horrible. Now, yeah, I know he got a big block on Jarrett Allen in the 4th quarter. Nice highlight. But that don't tell the story of the game. Okay? That don't tell the story of the game. Julius could play. I'm not saying he no scrub now. But he's got to focus on this defense some more. And I'm not talking about blocking shots. I'm talking about rotating and getting in position when somebody's man gets beat. He's got to be back there. And he used to do it the second half of last year. And even like before that, he was doing it. I was even surprised when I saw him do it last year because he hadn't been doing it his whole career prior to last year. But he was rotating. He was helping. He was getting back to his man. And last night, now I did not go back and look for that in all the other games that we lost to see if that was the case. Cause I was so focused on how they was exploiting and victimizing Kemba that I didn't. But when you put Julius Randle not playing defense with Kemba Walker, who can't play defense. And that's why we've been in trouble. Okay? So now Randle has got to step up and get back on his defensive game. And I'm sure that him and Thibodeau are going to have a conversation about that. This can't happen. Right? And then now, surprisingly enough, Fournier was out of position for I counted two times. I thought, he wasn't too bad. One time him, Randle, and Rose was, taking pictures, basically while the Cleveland Cavaliers were scoring. And another time Fournier just didn't rotate fast enough when he should have. It was it. Pretty much though, Fournier was doing pretty good on defense. He wasn't great, but he wasn't hurting us. It was Randle was hurting us. And I saw one time Nerlens Noel lost position, but that's going to happen. This is the NBA. So somebody's going to be out of position one time. I'm not going to, Nerlens was part of the comeback. And Mitchell Robinson was actually playing good defense, but oftentimes having to cover two men. That was the problem when we were sucked. When we used to suck. And I want to show you something. Like last night, Mitch Rob had 5 blocks. And you might look at it and say, oh man, he had 5 blocks. That's because everybody's man was getting beat. And he's helping. It's actually better when he doesn't have a lot of blocks and we're getting a good team defense going. See, you want to see him get blocks when he's one-on-one with, say, a Jared Allen on a low block and he blocks his shot. That's cool. But when he's got to step up and block a shot and then nobody's rotating, Julius Randle, behind him, and then the guy recovers the block shot, passes it to the open man, the man dunks, that's a problem. And it's not it's not Mitchell Robinson's fault. See? So Mitch Rob actually played a good defensive game when you look at the whole game. Yeah, he didn't look good on that one where Mobley went around him, but he's chasing him off the 3-point line. And were you supposed to get help for that? He's trusting his teammate, as he should. Okay. So, tonight against Philly, we beat Philly the last time. You better believe that if they start Kemba Walker, Shake Milton is not going to have it. He's going to go at him. Okay? Shake Milton has been playing good basketball. I've been watching him a couple of nights. He's been playing really good defense, and he's been playing really good offense. He's playing two-way basketball right now. Tyrese Maxey's getting they're not worried about Ben Simmons coming back. I don't think they would want him to come back right now. They look better without Ben Simmons, actually. With Tyrese Maxey, as we thought, we knew coming out of Kentucky, a lot of us was thinking that the Knicks were going to draft Maxey, but they really picked quickly, and I have a problem with that. But Maxey could play. Okay, that boy could ball. And so they've been really getting in the flow. Now, what will help us tonight is if Embiid decides he's going to take it personal, with Mitchell Robinson. That's going to help us because he's not going to be, Mitch is now buff now. He can't push Mitch around like he did before. He might have to take him outside off the dribble. If he does that, the Knicks got to rotate. And if Mitch has to chase boy off the 3-point line, he's got to have some back from the weak side tonight. Make that man pass the ball to the weak side. Swing it. And then we have to rotate. No problem. But I don't want to see Mitch out there trying to guard this man 3-point line and then defend the paint at the same time because nobody in the Knicks is in the paint. Okay? But if Embiid decides to try to win this one-on-one, we in good shape. If they decide to play team ball, we got to be ready. And we should be ready anyway. I'm expecting Mr. Randle to come the next night with much better defense. I want to see a drastic improvement tonight. He's young enough. He's athletic enough. He's talented enough. And I think he's smart enough to feel like he was just being lazy last night. And it just so happened when you play an NBA team and you let them start to get off, we've done it to other teams where the threes just start raining and you can't miss. We've done it. Y'all know that. It happened to us last night. Okay. Just letting them get off like that. Okay. So now I'm not sure what Thibs is going to do, but I would sit Kemba tonight. I really would. Let him stay in them street clothes one more night. Okay. And give IQ in there. And he needs to play that second unit more minutes. I mean, last night, RJ sucked up the joint last night. Y'all know that, right? But even defensively, though, RJ wasn't horrible. He didn't I think he just missed one assignment. He missed one assignment and Fournier missed one defensive assignment last night. He got beat off the dribble, but he's trying to guard Colin Sexton, who's much smaller and quicker. But I don't blame him for that. You're not going to, he's trying to stay in front of him. He did a pretty good job. Offensively, though, he sucked up the joint for real. I mean, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, but that should not lose us the basketball game. Okay? That should not lose us the basketball game. If we're playing defense, like that second unit did in the fourth quarter, we're going to be in the game with a chance to win. Okay? When a team like Cleveland is on the road, when you're on the road, all you want to do is stay close. And then you get a chance in the fourth quarter. Okay? I think Cleveland has not lost a game where they've led in the fourth quarter this year. I think that's just that. I'm pretty sure they haven't. They haven't lost a game when they've led going into the fourth quarter. So they tough. And so we cut that lead to 6. So I want to see more of that second unit. I want to see more of Quentin Grimes. I'd love to see some Deuce McBride. Deuce wouldn't have let that happen last night. He's not going to be standing out there in the one-man zone. I can tell you that right now. Okay? I could tell you that right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if he'd start dropping 17 himself. You let him get some time, aside from last night. Let's see. Quentin Grimes played 12 minutes. That was mostly the fourth quarter. Obi Toppin only played 11 minutes last night. Had 11 points in 11 minutes. They played Deuce for a minute last night. So Burks played 21 minutes. He was effective. That defense he played was excellent. Burks played excellent defense down the stretch. And so did Nerlens Noel. Mitchell Robinson did too, but it's Randle. It's Randle and Rose. They got to step up on the defensive end, especially Julius Randle. If we get Julius Randle stepping up last night, if he played a good D last night, we might have won that basketball game. Because half of them points they got in the paint wouldn't have come. Okay? So I'm hoping they learn tonight. We got a chance to beat Philly tonight. Okay? We don't have to lose this game tonight in Philly. We don't have to, even though it's a back-to-back. I think we got young enough legs they can come in and take care of business. But Tom's got to make the right decisions with his rotations here. You can't be having that second unit bring you back and then take them out for 2 players that played horrible defense last night. You just can't do that. I know he trusts and he's loyal and all that. That lost us the game last night. Okay? We could have come back. They cut it to 6 from 14. Okay? So, anyway, I'm looking for a better effort defensively tonight from Julius Randle. I'm going to be watching for that. I don't care how many points he scores. I want him to play some daggone defense. Okay? He's the leader of this team. He's got to set that tone. I'm looking for Thibs to recognize when Kemba Walker's the weak link and take him out and put in IQ or put in that second unit and let them run. I'm looking for Quentin Grimes to get some more time. Like last night, like I said, he played 12 minutes. Give that boy some more time. And then I'm looking to see, hopefully, if we get a Deuce sighting. And I'd like to have also Obi Toppin play more than 11 daggone minutes. He actually played better two-way basketball last night than Julius Randle. He did. Period. Obi played better two-way basketball last night than Julius. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not saying he's better than Julius, but last night he was playing better than Julius. Okay? That boy should be rewarded with more minutes. I mean, why? Not because he's a nice guy. Not because he just needs to develop. Because he helps us win. Okay? He's going to help us win. Quick broke out of his slump. He was 3 of 8 and 2 of 5, 4 of 4 from the line, but he was getting to the line. He was getting to the line. You know, had 5 assists last night. 12 points. I like the aggression he showed, and he hit some big threes in that stretch where we cut it to 6. He hit some big threes in that stretch, man. He answered the bell. So he's not, obviously, we know Quick is not afraid of the big moment. Okay, so we got to let these kids run loose, man. We got to do that. Okay, I think we're ready to do that. Fournier, I mean, he scored 15 last night. He was not a huge factor at all. You know, he didn't hurt us defensively, which is the most important thing. He wasn't, killing it offensively. He got up 13 shots. Rose got 14 shots. Obi scored his points on 4 shots. He hit all 4. Barrett had 13 shots and Randall's, took 17. So they had pretty good balance, with the guys that you want shooting the basketball. But I just think, you should have had Quentin Grimes out there to close out that game. You should have had Obi out there to close out that game. And we probably would have won that game or come close to winning it because they were making a comeback. Okay. So let's see what happens tonight. Again, I'm looking for Grimes to get some more time. I'm looking for that second unit to get some more time. I'd like Kemba not to play. But if he does, let's limit his time. But biggest factor of all, Julius Randle has got to come to play on the defensive end. And what y'all want y'all to watch, aside from the 3-stop rule that we said, the 3 stops in a row, which we didn't get except that second unit did in the fourth quarter, I want you to watch him when he's help defending. It doesn't show up when he's one-on-one defending. He's a good one-on-one defender. But in the Knicks style defense, you gotta have rotation. You gotta sprint to rotate and sprint back. That's what makes Tom Thibodeau's defense unique and elite. So look for Julius on the help defense. Somebody gets beat, you gotta see him step up. Watch if he stands there and waves him on. Anyway, I hope you had a good weekend. Y'all have a happy Monday. Let's hope tonight the Knicks show better. Shalom.